My husband, 32, initiated a quick and easy divorce claiming he lost the spark. Yesterday, I, 30, found a receipt in his toolbox that changes everything. I never thought I'd be the one writing this. I've read so many stories on this sub, thinking, how did they not see the signs? Well, now I know. Love makes you blind, but panic makes you see 2020. To give you some background, my husband Mark and I have been married for 7 years. Like most millennials, we've been drowning. Between my student loans and his failed startup debt from 3 years ago, we've been living strictly paycheck to paycheck. We haven't taken a vacation since our honeymoon. We share one beat-up Honda. The stress has always been there, but we were a team, or so I thought. About 4 months ago, Mark changed. It wasn't overnight. It was a slow freeze. He started coming home late, blaming overtime at a job that doesn't pay overtime. He put a passcode on his phone and took it everywhere, even to the shower. When I asked him about it, he called me paranoid. He said I was suffocating him with my insecurity. He used all the buzzwords. I was being toxic, controlling, and jealous. I actually started going to therapy because I thought I was losing my mind. I spent weeks crying, apologizing for being too much. Last Tuesday, he dropped the bomb. He came home, sat on the edge of the couch, and didn't even look at me. He said, "I'm done. The spark is gone, Sarah. I've been unhappy for months." I begged. I pleaded. I offered marriage counseling. He refused everything. He was cold, almost robotic. Then came the rush. He handed me a folder with separation papers he'd already downloaded online. "We don't need lawyers," he said, looking me in the eye. "Lawyers will just eat up the little money we have. Let's do an uncontested divorce. You keep the car, I'll take the debt from my business. We split the savings 50-50. Quick and clean." At the time, I thought he was being generous by taking on his business debt. He moved out that night to stay at his brother's place. I was left alone in our rental apartment, heartbroken, feeling like a failure. Yesterday, the kitchen sink started leaking. Usually, Mark fixes things, but he wasn't there. I couldn't afford a plumber, so I went to the garage to find his heavy-duty wrench. He took most of his stuff, but he left his old, rusty red toolbox because the latch was broken. I was digging through the bottom compartment looking for some pipe tape when I felt something taped to the underside of the tray. It was weird. Why would anyone tape something under the tool tray? I peeled it off. It was a Ziploc bag containing 2 things: a crumpled receipt from a gas station in a town 2 hours away, dated November 12th, and a business card for a wealth management and asset protection firm downtown. I stared at the receipt. November 12th. That was 3 months ago, the exact week he started acting weird. The receipt showed a purchase for gas, a Red Bull, and $20 worth of Powerball tickets. I froze. Why would a man who claims we are broke need an asset protection lawyer? My hands started shaking. I pulled out my phone and Googled Powerball winning numbers November 12th. I haven't slept since. I matched the numbers. He isn't just cheating, he's trying to steal our future. I sat on the cold garage floor for what felt like hours, staring at the glowing screen of my phone. My thumb hovered over the search button, shaking. Powerball winning numbers, November 12th, 2023. The results loaded. 04, 19, 23, 25, 49. Powerball, 14. Estimated jackpot, $45 million. I looked down at the crumpled receipt. It didn't list the numbers he played, just the transaction type, QP, Quick Pick. But then I did a deeper search. I found a local news article from that week. Single winning ticket for $45 million jackpot sold at Shell Station on Route 9 in Clifton. I looked at the receipt again. Shell Station 402, Clifton. My stomach dropped. I physically gagged. The world started spinning. Mark didn't just win a few $1,000. He won $45 million, and he won it 3 months ago. I frantically searched for who claimed the prize. In our state, winners can remain anonymous by claiming via a trust. The article said, "The jackpot was claimed by the New Leaf Trust, represented by the legal firm of..." I grabbed the business card I found in the Ziploc bag. The logo matched. The firm on the card was the same one representing the trust, New Leaf. The audacity. He was turning over a new leaf, all right, without me. Suddenly, the last 3 months replayed in my head like a horror movie. The night he came home and said we needed to tighten our belts because inflation was hitting hard, he was already a multi-millionaire. The time I cried because my student loan payment bounced and I had to sell my grandmother's necklace, he watched me cry. He hugged me and said, "It's hard for everyone right now, babe." He had $45 million and he let me sell the only heirloom I had left. The rage that filled me wasn't hot. It was absolute zero. It was clarifying. I ran back into the house and dug the divorce papers out of the trash where I'd thrown them in a fit of despair. I read them, really read them this time. Clause 4.1, Division of Assets and Debts. Husband agrees to assume full responsibility for all outstanding debts related to Mark's Tech Solutions, LLC, approximately $40,000. Wife agrees to waive all claims to future assets or business holdings of husband acquired after the date of separation. He wasn't being generous by taking the debt. It was a bribe, a $40,000 bribe to keep me away from $45 million. He wanted to rush the divorce so the date of separation would be legally established before I found out. If I signed this, I would be signing away my rights to ask for a dime of the lottery money, arguing that he acquired access to the trust funds after we separated. My phone buzzed. It was Mark. "Hey, Sarah, I know this is hard. I just want to get this over with so we can both heal. Did you sign the papers? I can swing by and pick them up tomorrow morning." I stared at the text. The old Sarah would have screamed at him. The old Sarah would have driven to his brother's house and pounded on the door. But the old Sarah was broke and desperate. The new Sarah was holding a winning lottery receipt. I took a deep breath. I needed to be smart. I needed to be an Oscar-worthy actress. I typed back, "I haven't signed yet, Mark. I'm just so overwhelmed. I can't stop crying. Please give me a few days to process this. I promise I won't make it difficult. I just need time." He replied almost instantly, "Take the weekend, but let's file Monday. It's better to rip the Band-Aid off." Rip the Band-Aid off. You piece of trash. I didn't sleep that night either. Instead, I researched lawyers. Not the strip mall divorce lawyers we could afford, but the sharks. I looked for firms that specialize in forensic accounting and high-asset divorce. I found a woman named Elena, whose reviews described her as terrifying and a bulldozer. Her retainer was $5,000. I had $400 in my checking account, but I had a credit card with a $6,000 limit that I was saving for emergencies. Well, this was an emergency. I booked a consultation for the next morning. I wasn't going to get mad. I was going to get everything. I spent my last $5,000 on a lawyer. She told me to dry my tears and let him commit a felony. Walking into Elena Vance's office felt like entering a fortress. Everything was glass and steel. I was wearing my thrift store coat and clutching a plastic Ziploc bag like it was a holy relic. When Elena walked in, she didn't offer me coffee or sympathy. She sat down, adjusted her glasses, and asked, "Why are you here, Sarah?" I didn't speak. I just slid the Ziploc bag across the mahogany desk. Elena looked at the receipt, then the business card, Then the printout of the winning numbers I had added. She went silent for a full minute. When she looked up, the boredom in her eyes was gone. It was replaced by something sharp and dangerous. "When did he buy this?" she asked. "November 12th. We were living together. We were trying for a baby." "And the separation date listed on his papers?" "Last Tuesday." Elena smiled, but it wasn't a nice smile. It was the smile of a predator seeing a wounded gazelle. "In our state, any assets acquired during the marriage are marital property. It doesn't matter whose name is on the ticket. It doesn't matter if he put it in a trust. That money is 50% yours by default." She leaned forward. "But here is the interesting part. By hiding it and attempting to rush a no-fault divorce with a waiver of financial disclosure, he isn't just being greedy, he is breaching his fiduciary duty to you. If we can prove he intentionally concealed assets to defraud you, the judge has the discretion to award you the entirety of the hidden asset, all of it. But to do that, we need him to hang himself." She laid out the plan. It was terrifyingly simple. I couldn't let Mark know that I knew. If he found out I knew about the lottery, he might try to move the money offshore, spend it, or drag this out in court for 10 years until I went bankrupt. Instead, we had to let him lie, officially, on court documents. "He wants you to sign the settlement agreement," Elena explained. "We're going to tell him you're ready to sign, but your controlling aunt or annoying cousin insisted you get a lawyer just to look it over. We'll send him a standard financial affidavit. This is a sworn document where he must list all his assets under penalty of perjury. Once he signs that document and leaves out the $45 million, we have him." I left her office feeling nauseous but empowered. The $5,000 charge on my credit card felt heavy, but for the first time in months, I had a weapon. That night, Mark texted again. He was getting impatient. "Mark, Sarah, stop ignoring me. If you don't sign by Monday, I'm taking the offer regarding the business debt off the table. Don't be stupid." My hands shook as I typed the response Elena and I had drafted. Me: "I'm sorry, Mark. I'm not trying to be difficult. I want to sign. It's just that my mom is freaking out and made me show the papers to a family friend who's a paralegal. They said we need to file a formal financial statement just to make it legal so the judge accepts it. It's just a formality. As soon as you fill that out, I'll sign everything. I just want this to be over." He didn't reply for 3 hours. I paced my apartment, terrified I'd pushed too hard. Had he realized? Was he calling the trust lawyer? Finally, his bubble popped. "Mark, fine, whatever, send the form, but don't expect me to list every single screwdriver I own. I'm broke, Sarah, you know that." I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. "I'm broke," he said. The man sitting on a fortune was still gaslighting me via text. The next day, Elena sent the official request. We kept it incredibly standard. We didn't ask about lottery winnings specifically. We just asked for bank accounts, business assets, and other income. Mark returned the signed affidavit 24 hours later. I stared at the PDF on my laptop. Under assets, he listed 2016 Honda Civic, value $8,000, checking account, balance $1,200, Mark's Tech Solutions, value minus $40,000 debt. Under other assets, lottery winnings, trusts, he checked the box none. At the bottom, his signature was scrawled in blue ink right below the warning, "I declare under penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and correct." I called Elena. "He signed it," I whispered. "Good," she said. "Now we wait for the court date. Don't pack your bags yet, Sarah, but maybe start looking at real estate listings." He showed up to mediation wearing a $12,000 Rolex and told me I should be grateful for his offer. The 3 weeks between the affidavit and the mediation were a blur of anxiety and adrenaline. Elena, my lawyer, was working in the background. She had hired a forensic accountant and served a subpoena to the State Lottery Commission. We weren't just guessing anymore. We were building a fortress of evidence. Meanwhile, Mark was getting sloppy. Since he thought I was handling the divorce without a lawyer, remember he thought Elena was just reviewing paperwork, not representing me in court, he stopped hiding. He didn't know I was watching. I saw his new truck parked 2 blocks away from our apartment, a brand new Ford F-150 Raptor. Cost about $80,000. I saw his Instagram stories from a burner account I made. He was tagging himself at 5-star steakhouses, posting pictures of expensive whiskey but cropping out his face. He captioned one photo, "New beginnings, #blessed." Blessed? You're not blessed, Mark. You're a thief. The day of the mediation arrived. We met in a neutral conference room at a law firm downtown. I got there early, wearing my same old worn-out coat, trying to look defeated. Mark walked in 10 minutes late. He looked expensive. New haircut, new leather jacket, and on his wrist, peeking out from under his sleeve, was a Rolex Submariner. I know watches because my dad loved them. That watch costs more than my car. He sat down, didn't make eye contact, and sighed loudly. His lawyer, a guy who looked like he sold used cars in the 90s, started talking. Look, my client is being very generous here. He's taking all the debt, he's letting Sarah keep the household items, we just want to sign and be done. Mark finally looked at me. Sarah, I'm doing this for you. I don't want to drag you through court. Take the deal. I'll even throw in $5,000 cash to help you with the move. Just sign. My blood was boiling. $5,000 from a man who has $45 million? I looked at Elena. She gave me the tiniest nod. It was time. Elena cleared her throat. She opened her file folder. We appreciate the offer, and Sarah is ready to move on. But before we sign the final agreement, I have a few standard questions regarding the financial affidavit you submitted last month, just for the record. Mark rolled his eyes. I already signed it. It's accurate. I have nothing. Elena pulled out a piece of paper. So, Mr. Smith, you state here that your total assets are less than $10,000, and you have no interest in any trusts, lottery winnings, or inheritance. Is that correct? Yes, Mark snapped. How many times do I have to say it? And you understand, Elena continued, locking eyes with him, lying on this form constitutes perjury and fraud? I'm not lying, Mark slammed his hand on the table. The Rolex glinted under the fluorescent lights. Stop wasting my time. Sarah, tell your lawyer to back off. Elena didn't blink. She reached into her briefcase and pulled out a thick document with a government seal. It was the response to our subpoena from the Lottery Commission. She slid it across the table, face down. Mr. Smith, does the New Leaf Trust sound familiar to you? The room went silent. You could hear the air conditioning humming. I watched Mark's face. The color drained out of it so fast I thought he was going to faint. His arrogance vanished. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. He looked at his lawyer. His lawyer looked confused. I don't know what you're talking about, Mark stammered, but his voice cracked. Elena flipped the document over. That's strange, because this document says that the beneficiary of the New Leaf Trust, which claimed a $45 million jackpot on November 15th, is linked to your Social Security number. Would you like to amend your affidavit now, or should we save this for the judge? Mark looked like he was going to vomit. The trap hadn't just closed, it had crushed him. After the disaster at mediation, Mark's lawyer did something I didn't expect. He fired Mark. Apparently, lawyers don't like it when you make them accessories to fraud. Mark had to scramble to find new counsel, a high-priced fixer known for defending white-collar criminals. They tried everything to settle out of court. They offered me 50%, then 60%, then 75% of the winnings. Elena told me, don't take it. We have him on perjury. We're going to trial. The trial was yesterday. It wasn't a long, dramatic TV trial. It was brutal and short. Mark took the stand. He looked terrible, bags under his eyes, that arrogant shine completely gone. Under cross-examination, his defense crumbled. His new lawyer tried to argue that Mark didn't hide the money maliciously. He claimed Mark was overwhelmed by the sudden wealth and wanted to protect the assets from impulse spending until the divorce was finalized, at which point he planned to share it. Elena destroyed him with one question. She held up a printout of a Zillow listing for a $4 million bachelor pad in Miami. "Mr. Smith," she asked, "if you intended to share the money with your wife, why did you put a non-refundable deposit on this property under the name of your trust, listing yourself as the sole occupant 2 days before you filed for divorce?" Mark stuttered. I needed a place to live." "A $4 million place to live while your wife was selling her jewelry to pay for groceries?" The courtroom was dead silent. Then came the judge, Judge Sterling. She was a woman in her 60s who looked like she had seen every lie in the book and was tired of them. She peered over her glasses at Mark. "Mr. Smith," she said, "marriage is a fiduciary relationship. You have a legal duty to be honest with your spouse about finances. You didn't just lie by omission. You took active steps to defraud this court and your wife. You created a trust to hide your identity. You filed a false affidavit. You bullied your wife into a quick settlement." She paused. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would explode. "In this state," Judge Sterling continued, citing a specific family law code, "the penalty for intentional concealment of assets with the intent to defraud is 100% of the concealed asset." Mark's head snapped up. "Wait, what?" "Therefore," the judge banged her gavel, "I am awarding 100% of the lottery winnings held by the New Leaf Trust to the petitioner, Sarah Smith. Mr. Smith, you retain your business debt and your vehicle. You are also ordered to pay Mrs. Smith's legal fees." Mark stood up, his face purple. "You can't do that. That's my money. I won it." "Bailiff," the judge said calmly, "please assist Mr. Smith back to his seat or out of the courtroom." I sat there, frozen. Elena squeezed my hand under the table. "Breathe, Sarah. You just won." I looked across the aisle. Mark was slumped in his chair, head in his hands. He'd traded a guaranteed $22.5 million, his half, for zero, all because he was too greedy to share. Update. It's been 1 year. I bought my grandma's necklace back, and he is living in his brother's basement. I am writing this from a small villa in Tuscany. The sun is setting, I have a glass of wine, and for the first time in 7 years, my shoulders aren't tense. It has been exactly 12 months since the court ruling. I wanted to wait until the dust settled completely before giving you guys a final update. You saved my sanity during those dark nights, and you deserve to know how it ended. The money. The transfer process took some time. After taxes and the lump sum deduction, I didn't take the 30-year annuity. The $45 million turned into roughly $16 million in cold, hard cash. It is an amount of money I still can't fully comprehend. I didn't go crazy. I didn't buy a yacht or a private jet. The first thing I did was pay off my student loans. Watching that balance hit $0 was better than the lottery win itself. Then, I hired a private investigator to track down the pawn shop where I sold my grandmother's necklace. It had been sold to a collector in another state. I contacted him, explained the situation, and offered him double what he paid. He was kind enough to sell it back to me. I'm wearing it right now. Mark. I know this is the part you're all waiting for. Mark tried to appeal the decision. He really did. But appeals cost money, and lawyers generally want to be paid upfront when their client is a proven liar with zero assets. Because he had put a deposit on that Miami mansion and leased the truck based on money he didn't legally have access to yet, he defaulted on everything. His tech solutions business? It turns out he was leveraging business credit to fund his lifestyle while waiting for the lottery payout. When the payout never came, the creditors swarmed. He filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy 3 months ago. Last I heard from a mutual friend, he is living in his brother's basement, the same place he went when he first left me. He works at a car rental agency now. The closure. 2 weeks ago, I got an email. It was from Mark. It was long, rambling, and pathetic. He didn't apologize for stealing. He apologized for how things got out of hand. He said he missed me, he said he was in a dark place, and that money ruined him. He asked if we could meet for coffee, for old time's sake. I didn't delete it, I didn't block him immediately. I forwarded it to Elena, my lawyer. She replied with one sentence: "Do you want me to send a cease and desist, or should we let him simmer?" I told her to let him simmer. I never replied to him. His punishment isn't my anger, it's my indifference. He has to live the rest of his life knowing he held a winning lottery ticket in his hand, not the paper one, but a loyal wife and a life of freedom, and he threw it all away because he didn't want to share. Final thoughts. People always say money changes you. I don't think that's true. I think money acts like a magnifying glass. It shows you exactly who someone is. For Mark, money amplified his greed and selfishness. For me, it amplified my freedom. I'm starting a nonprofit next month to help women in financial abuse situations afford legal representation. I'm calling it the New Leaf Foundation. I thought it was a fitting name. Thank you, Reddit, for telling me to check the receipt. You literally changed my life. Signing off, Sarah.